The world's in the grip of an energy crisis. We've had decades of well-meaning but naive energy transition efforts in developed nations, and it's created a fragile world energy grid that's starting to falter today. Germany was once a celebrated world leader in renewable energy. Now coal's returned to their top spot as their source of electricity generation, while electricity prices in Europe have risen 500%. India and China, they're pumping up their coal production, and they're in a bidding war right now for Russian natural gas. Energy price spikes are feeding inflation, and that's impacting the standard of living for the entire planet. I mean, we got a real problem. It's not even winter yet. So, where's Canada's leadership? How is Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, responding to this looming energy catastrophe? Is he going to help facilitate the production and export of our clean, ethical Canadian energy products? You know, to help ease the burden on our European neighbors who are going to have a really painful winter? Is he going to ease the regulations on our petrochemical sector to help mitigate, the inflationary pressures we have here as the energy prices rise? Are we going to increase our production? Is Trudeau finally going to applaud Western Canadian energy production as a means of employing hundreds of thousands of Canadians and helping to pay for all the COVID-19 pandemic measures? Of course he isn't. No. Where's Trudeau? He's used his new cabinet appointments in order to signal that he's going to declare an all-out war upon conventional energy generation in Canada. I mean, he's made no bones about this. He appointed environmental radical Stephen Guilbeault to the position of Environment Minister. Trudeau's making it clear he has no interest in allowing Canada's petrochemical sector to continue on its path to net zero emissions. The petrochemical industry has been reducing their emissions year after year after year. They've been doing carbon capture, things like that. Trudeau doesn't want to go that route. He wants to shut them down. He wants to shut it down altogether, and he wants to do it soon. So, if you're not familiar with Stephen Guilbeault's history, he's been involved in extreme environmental actions for decades. In 2001, he was arrested and charged for hanging from the CN Tower in Toronto in a Greenpeace protest. That's real cabinet minister material if I've ever seen it. This is a rational, deep-thinking man. He put emergency responders in danger when he did that. He was involved with a group of protesters who terrorized then Premier Ralph Klein's wife, Colleen. They climbed up on the roof of the Premier's home as a protest stunt in 2002. Guilbeault's not a run-of-the-mill environmental activist. We got a lot of those. No, he's from the extreme wing of them. And now he's in one of the most powerful roles in the country, put there by Justin Trudeau. Government cabinets, they're carefully selected, especially right after an election like this. The people who choose those roles, or chosen to fill those cabinet roles, they represent the direction the government wants to go in. Justin Trudeau never made a secret of his ambitions to be the Prime Minister who conquered climate change, so he's set up his cabinet to do so. And they make it clear, Trudeau doesn't just want to talk about it, he wants to act. And our Western provinces and their premiers, the ones that have their act together, should really be taking heed right now. Trudeau's been in office for 6 years, and there's not much he can point to. He doesn't have an established legacy. The clock's ticking. And if nothing changes, Trudeau's going to be remembered as being nothing aside from a vacuous placeholder who happened to have a famous name who sat in the Prime Minister's office for 6 to 8 years. Trudeau's vanity is almost debilitating, it's so well established. He doesn't want to go out that way, so he's planned to make battling climate change his legacy. But he's not bright enough to do it well. While battling climate change could be accomplished through mitigating efforts like carbon capture, selling clean-burning natural gas to the world, no. Trudeau appointed Guilbeault as Canada's Environment Minister, and in doing that, he's made it clear he wants to fight climate change through shutting down Canada's hydrocarbon industries. Guilbeault expressly stated he wants to do that. There's no mistake Trudeau gave him this much authority. There can only be one goal in mind. Trudeau, one area where he was candid, where he stated he doesn't pay attention to monetary, fiscal policies and issues. He doesn't care that the world's in an energy crisis. He doesn't understand what shutting down Canada's petrochemical industry is going to do to the economy. This is Justin Trudeau. His foresight doesn't extend beyond his own nose. All he's looking at is being enshrined as the crusader who defeated the evil oil industry. Now, Alberta should be the prime province standing up for and defending the energy sector against this ideologically driven federal government. Unfortunately, Premier Kenney has proven himself to be long on talk and short on action when it comes to actually standing up to Ottawa. It's hard to get hopeful with what Premier Kenney may do in light of this. And right now, he's distracted with a breaking sexual harassment lawsuit against one of his cabinet ministers. He's not going to have time to mount a spirited defense of Alberta's industries, nor does he even have the public support to be taken seriously in such a defense. So we're really left hanging right now. And Western Canadian energy companies are vulnerable, and Trudeau knows it. There's not going to be any help coming from our new natural resources minister either. That's another indicator of where Trudeau's going with things. The minister, Jonathan Wilkinson, he comes from a history of renewable energy development. Like he was in companies that did biomass and things like that. He's going to be tickled pink to see the petrochemical companies driven from the Canadian economy. These guys can't make it on their own. They just feel if they can kill the competition, the world will suddenly go green and embrace their products. The chill's already happening. Investment-wise, getting investment into Canadian conventional energy projects was already a tough task due to Ottawa's hostility towards the sector. Now, in light of this new federal cabinet in Ottawa, finding investment is going to be nearly impossible. I mean, would you invest in a Canadian energy project when the Prime Minister has appointed a cabinet determined to shut down the industry? I mean, you'd be out of your mind. The only advice I can offer to Canadians right now is to buckle in and get ready for a rough ride. I mean, Justin Trudeau, he's going to the 26th UN Climate Conference in Glasgow next week, and he's going to be strutting around. He's going to be rubbing shoulders with Gretchen Whitmer and other people on his intellectual level. You can imagine Trudeau bragging to them all about how he's going to be setting up Canada as an example on how to battle climate change. I mean, Trudeau's embarrassed himself overseas so many times, and embarrassed us by extension many times. And he's had trouble being taken seriously by other world leaders. So he's seeing this as an opportunity to set himself up as a player on the world stage. Damn it, they're going to take me seriously. When Justin gets back from the Glasgow summit, watch out. He's loaded the gun with his new cabinet. He's going to be fired up and ready to shoot. And the first target he's going to be shooting at is going to be Alberta.